He could smell them, the burning flesh, the sulfur, the despair so thick it felt like drowning in tar, and they were screaming, not at him, to him, begging, pleading, crying out for relief that would never come. Padre Pio didn't read about purgatory in books. He didn't theorize about it in theology classes. He experienced it night after night. For decades, the suffering souls came to him, appeared to him, touched him with hands that burned like coals, and they taught him 3 secrets, 3 ways to shorten their torment, 3 paths that could pull a soul from the edge of damnation itself. And what he discovered changes everything about how you should be living right now. Hey everyone, welcome back. Today, you're going to learn something that most Catholics never hear from the pulpit. Something so powerful that if you really understood it, you'd never waste another day. Because Padre Pio, the stigmatic priest who bled for 50 years, who bore the wounds of Christ in his own body, who could read souls and bilocate and perform miracles that made doctors lose their minds, he had another gift, one that terrified him more than the stigmata ever did. He could see the dead, not just see them. He could feel their pain, experience their suffering, and they came to him constantly, desperate, begging for help. And over 5 decades of mystical experiences, documented by hundreds of witnesses, investigated by the Church for years, verified by testimony after testimony, these souls taught him exactly how to escape their torment. This isn't legend, this isn't folklore. Padre Pio lived from 1887 to 1968. His experiences were documented by his spiritual directors, examined by Vatican investigators, witnessed by his fellow Capuchin friars. And everything you're about to hear comes from sworn testimonies, from Padre Pio's own letters, from the accounts of people who were there, people who saw, people who heard, people who couldn't explain what. They witnessed but knew it was real. So let me ask you something. When was the last time you really thought about purgatory? Not as some vague concept, not as something that happens to other people, but as a real place where real souls, people you know, people you love, might be suffering right now, burning, aching, longing for relief, and completely dependent on you to help them. Because here's what most people don't understand. The souls in purgatory can't help themselves. They're helpless, powerless. They can pray for us, yes, but they cannot shorten their own suffering by a single second. They need us, and Padre Pio spent 50 years learning exactly how we can help them. San Giovanni Rotondo, Italy, 1918, a small monastery perched on a hillside. Inside, a 31-year-old Capuchin friar named Francesco Forgione, known to the world as Padre Pio, was living through something no medical textbook could explain. 5 bleeding wounds, hands, feet, side, appearing. Suddenly, on September 20th, pouring blood constantly, soaking through bandages, filling the chapel with the scent of flowers mixed with iron. Doctors examined him, found no natural explanation. The wounds went straight through. You could see light through the holes in his hands, and they never healed, not for 50 years, not until the day he died. But the stigmata, as impossible as they were, weren't the strangest thing happening to Padre Pio, because while the world was obsessing over his bleeding hands, something else was occurring, something he rarely spoke about, something that terrified him far more than physical pain ever could. The dead were visiting him, not in dreams, not in visions you could dismiss as imagination. They appeared, physically manifested in his cell, in the chapel, in the confessional, souls from purgatory, burning, suffering, and they needed his help. His fellow friars would hear him at night, talking to someone, arguing sometimes, pleading. They'd open his cell door. He'd be alone, drenched in sweat, pale as a corpse, and he'd say the same thing every time. The souls were here, they came again, they're suffering so much. One friar, Father Alessio Parente, who lived with Padre Pio for years, testified that he'd sometimes see Padre Pio backing away from something invisible, hands raised, as if shielding himself from heat, from fire, and Padre Pio would be whispering, praying frantically, offering masses, promising relief, begging God to shorten their torment. But here's what makes this different from every other mystic who claimed to see purgatory. Padre Pio didn't just see them, he could identify them by name. People he'd never met, people who died years before he was born. He'd describe them in perfect detail to their living relatives, tell them things only the deceased could know, secrets, private conversations, deathbed confessions, and then he'd deliver their message. Always the same plea. We need prayers. We need masses. We need suffering offered for us. Help us, please, help us get out. And then something happened that changed everything. Something that revealed just how real this was, just how urgent, just how much power we actually have to help these souls. It was 1921, middle of the night. Padre Pio was praying in his cell. The air changed, got heavier, colder despite the summer heat. Then he felt it, a presence, strong, desperate, radiating pain, and a voice, not audible, but clear, unmistakable. Please help me. I've been here so long, so long. The voice was a monk, a Capuchin friar who died decades earlier in that very monastery, and he told Padre Pio something that would haunt him for the rest of his life. The monk had died with a small sin unconfessed. Nothing major, nothing damning, just a minor attachment to a possession he should have surrendered under his vow of poverty. He'd meant to confess it, he'd planned to, but he died suddenly, without absolution for that. One thing, and he'd been in purgatory for 30 years. 30 years for one small sin, burning, aching, longing for God but unable to reach him, separated by the thinnest veil. So close to heaven he could almost touch it, but held back by that one stain on his soul. That one small thing he hadn't let go of. Padre Pio was devastated. 30 years for that? But the monk wasn't finished. He told Padre Pio something else, something that would become one of the three secrets, the one thing that could have freed him decades ago if just one person, just one, had offered a single mass for him, one mass, and 30 years of suffering could have been avoided, but no one did, because no one knew, no one remembered, no one prayed, and so he burned. Stop for a second, let that sink in. 30 years of purifying fire, because no one said a single prayer, no one offered a single mass. Are you starting to understand the weight of this, the power you have right now, the souls depending on you? Think about it. Who in your life has died? Parents, grandparents, friends, siblings? Do you pray for them? Not occasionally, regularly. Do you have masses said for them? Or did you go to the funeral, cry, move on, and never think about it again? Because they might still be there, right now, this very second, suffering, burning, purified by fire, longing for relief, and completely dependent on whether you remember them. Leave a comment right now. Tell me, who do you need to pray for today? Who? Have you forgotten? Don't skip this. This matters more than you think. After that night, Padre Pio became obsessed, not his word, the word his fellow friars used, obsessed with the suffering souls. He'd say mass after mass after mass, sometimes 3, 4, 5 masses in a single day, which wasn't even technically allowed, but he'd get special permission, because he said the souls were begging, crowding around him, pleading, and he couldn't ignore them. One witness, Cleonice Morcaldi, testified that she saw Padre Pio in the sacristy after Mass. He was weeping, trembling, and he said, "They're here, so many of them. I can barely breathe from the heat. They surround me during Mass, begging me to apply the fruits of the sacrifice for them. How can I say no? How can I choose one over another? They're all suffering. But over time, through thousands of these encounters, through decades of these souls teaching him, showing him, revealing to him the mechanics of purgatory, Padre Pio began to understand something. 3 specific actions, 3 concrete things that had more power than anything else to shorten their suffering, to pull them out of the flames, to rocket them straight to heaven. And these 3 things aren't complicated, aren't reserved for mystics or saints. They're things you can do today, right now, things that make the souls cry out with relief when you do them, because Padre Pio saw it, witnessed the moment a soul was freed because someone on earth did one of these 3 things, saw the joy, the explosion of gratitude, the instantaneous transformation from agony to ecstasy. Secret number 1. And this is straight from the testimonies of multiple souls who appeared to Padre Pio, the holy sacrifice of the Mass. But not just any Mass, not just attending and daydreaming through the homily. Padre Pio said the souls told him this. One Mass, offered specifically for a soul by name, has more power to relieve their suffering than 1,000 rosaries prayed, absent-mindedly. Why? Because the Mass isn't your prayer. It's Christ's sacrifice, represented, made present again. The same sacrifice that opened heaven, that conquered death, that paid the infinite price for sin. When you have a Mass said for someone, for a specific soul, you're applying that infinite sacrifice directly to them. It's like taking a soul drowning in fire and throwing them a rope made of the blood of God himself. Padre Pio would tell people who came to him desperate about their deceased loved ones, have a Mass said, today, not tomorrow, today. Give the priest a stipend, give him the name, and then assist at that Mass with everything you have. Offer your attention, your prayers, your own small sufferings that day. Unite them to the sacrifice happening on the altar, and watch what happens. He'd say some souls were freed instantly. During the Mass, he could see it. The moment the consecration happened, the moment the host was elevated, the soul would appear to him, radiating light, face transformed, and they'd say one word, thank you, and vanish straight to heaven. One woman testified that her mother appeared to Padre Pio during Mass. He didn't know the woman, didn't know her mother, but after Mass he approached her and said, your mother was here. She died 3 weeks ago. She's been suffering, but she's grateful you had this Mass said for her. She's going home now. The woman collapsed. Because yes, her mother had died 3 weeks prior, and yes, she'd had that specific Mass said that morning. No one told Padre Pio, no one could have, but he saw, he witnessed, he knew. So here's your first action. Before this day ends, have a Mass said for someone. Go to your parish office, give them a name, give them a small offering, usually $10, $20, and have a Mass offered for that specific soul. And then, this is critical, attend that Mass if possible. Be there. Pray specifically for them during the consecration. Offer that sacrifice for them. You have no idea the relief you might be giving them right this second. The years, maybe decades of suffering you might be erasing. One Mass. That's it. That's all it takes sometimes. But Padre Pio learned there was something else. Something that shocked even him. Because the souls told him that in the economy of salvation, in God's mysterious mathematics, there was one thing that had even more power than Mass in certain cases. One thing that could blast through years of purifying fire like a nuclear bomb of mercy. And that's secret number 2, your own suffering offered intentionally, specifically for a suffering soul. Let me explain how this works because most people never learn this. Every single pain you experience, physical, emotional, spiritual, every headache, every betrayal, every moment of anxiety or depression or loneliness or chronic illness, all of it, every bit of it, has value in God's economy, infinite value, because when you're baptized, you're united to Christ. And that means your suffering becomes part of his suffering, gets caught up in his redemptive work. Paul says it in Colossians 1:24, I rejoice in my sufferings for your sake, and in my flesh I am filling up what is lacking in Christ's afflictions. What's lacking? Nothing in terms of Christ's sacrifice being sufficient. That's complete, perfect, infinite. But what's lacking is your participation, our participation. God could save everyone with a snap, but he chose a different way. He invites us. invites us to join him in the work of redemption, to unite our small sufferings to his infinite suffering. And when we do that, when we offer our pain specifically for a soul, something happens in the spiritual realm that's more powerful than we can imagine. Padre Pio experienced this constantly. He'd be suffering, stigmata bleeding, fever raging, pain screaming through his body, and he'd whisper, "Jesus, this is for the souls in purgatory. This pain, I give it to you. Use it to free them." And witnesses testified they'd hear him listing names, specific souls who'd appeared to him, specific people suffering. He'd assign his suffering to them like currency, like spiritual payment for their debt, and the souls would later appear to him and confirm it. "That pain you offered Tuesday, that freed me. That suffering you endured Thursday, that cut my time by years. I'm free now. Thank you." One particularly striking testimony comes from Padre Pio's doctor, Dr. Sala. He was treating Padre Pio for a particularly severe fever, 104 degrees, should have been delirious, but Padre Pio was calm, almost joyful. The doctor asked why, and Padre Pio said, "I offered this fever this morning for a specific soul who came to me last night. He's been in purgatory for 12 years. This fever will free him today." The doctor thought he was delirious after all, but then Padre Pio described the soul. A man from a nearby town, died in 1936, specific details. The doctor, curious, investigated later, found the man, every detail matched, family confirmed, and they said something that made the doctor's blood run cold. That very day, the day of Padre Pio's fever, they'd all independently felt a strong urge to pray for that man, hadn't thought about him in years, but suddenly, all at once, they felt compelled, and they did. They prayed. Now here's where this gets personal. You're suffering something right now. Maybe chronic pain, maybe depression, maybe a difficult relationship, maybe financial stress, maybe just the small daily annoyances, traffic, headaches, fatigue, all of it, every bit of it. You have a choice. You can waste it. Let it just be pointless pain that makes you bitter. Or you can weaponize it, transform it into spiritual dynamite every time you feel pain. Any pain. Say this: "Jesus, I unite this suffering to yours. I offer it for the souls in purgatory, especially for whoever needs it most right now. Use this pain to free someone." That's it. 10 seconds. And you just turned your meaningless suffering into a key that unlocks a prison cell in purgatory. But wait, because Padre Pio said there was one more way to help the souls, and this one is controversial. This one makes people uncomfortable, because it requires something most modern Catholics have forgotten how to do: penance, voluntary suffering, chosen sacrifice, not just offering the suffering that comes to you, but seeking it out, embracing it, adding to it, intentionally, for the sake of the souls. This is secret number 3. And before you think that sounds extreme or crazy, understand something. Padre Pio didn't invent this. It's woven through 2,000 years of Catholic tradition. The Desert Fathers sleeping on rocks, medieval mystics wearing hair shirts, saints fasting to the point of collapse, missionaries enduring unimaginable hardships. Why? Because they understood something we've forgotten. The spiritual realm is more real than the physical, and actions in the spiritual realm have consequences more lasting than anything we do here. When you voluntarily give up something you love, when you intentionally embrace discomfort for the sake of a soul, you're saying to God, "I'm serious. I'm willing to pay a price for this person's freedom," and God honors that, always. The souls told Padre Pio that voluntary penances had a special power, because they proved love, suffering that comes to you, that you merely accept. That's beautiful, that's good, but suffering you choose, that you seek out, that's sacrificial love, that's Calvary love, that's the love that conquers death. One soul appeared to Padre Pio and told him that a single day of voluntary fasting offered specifically for him had shortened his purgatory by 5 years. 5 years for one day of skipping food. The math doesn't make earthly sense, but heaven's math is different. Heaven's economy runs on love, and voluntary sacrifice is love made visible. Padre Pio practiced this constantly. He slept 3 hours a night, sometimes less. Not because he wasn't tired, he was exhausted, but he offered those hours of sleep, gave them up for the souls. He ate almost nothing, 1 meal a day, barely enough to survive. His fellow friars begged him to eat more. He'd smile and say, "I'm full," because he's feeding on something else. The joy of knowing his sacrifice was freeing souls. He wore a rough habit against his wounded skin, never complained about the cold, never sought comfort. Everything was offered, everything was sacrifice, everything had a name attached, a soul being lifted, purified, freed. Now pause. I need to know what you think about this, because this is where modern Catholicism and historic Catholicism diverge. We've been taught that God wants us comfortable, happy, living our best life now. But saints like Padre Pio lived differently, suffered willingly, chose the harder path, embraced the cross. So tell me in the comments, do you think God still calls people to this kind of radical sacrifice today? Or was that just for the old school saints? I genuinely want to know what you think. Drop your opinion below before we continue. The Church investigated Padre Pio for decades. The Vatican sent observers. Doctors examined him over 50 times. Theologians interrogated him. Skeptics tried to debunk him. For years, they restricted his ministry, forbade him from saying public mass, confined him to his monastery. Why? Because what was happening was too extraordinary, too impossible. And the Church takes these things seriously. They don't rush to approve. They test, they question, they demand evidence. And every single investigation came back the same way. No fraud detected, no natural explanation found, no psychological disorder identified. The man was sane, the phenomena were real. And in 1968, just months before he died, Pope Paul VI himself said, "Look at Padre Pio's hands. Those are not the marks of suggestion or hysteria. Those are the wounds of Christ." By the time Padre Pio died on September 23, 1968, the Stigmata had been bleeding for exactly 50 years. Not 49 years and some months, exactly 50 years to the day. And here's what's staggering. The moment he died, the exact moment his heart stopped, the wounds closed, disappeared. Doctors who examined his body testified there were no scars, no marks, nothing. It was as if they'd never existed. 50 years of bleeding, documented by hundreds of photographs, examined by dozens of physicians, and then gone, instant, complete. Like Jesus saying, "Your work is done, you can come home now." But his work with the suffering souls, the testimonies kept coming. Even after his death, people reported dreams, visions, Padre Pio appearing to them saying, "I prayed for your mother, she's free now." Or, "Have a mass said for your father. He needs it. Do it this week." And when they investigated, when they followed through, they'd discover things, confirmations, details they couldn't have known. Padre Pio's intercession didn't stop when he died. It intensified, because now he was on the other side. Now he could see the souls directly. Now he could advocate for them from within heaven itself. Today, decades after his death, millions of people pray to Padre Pio specifically for the suffering souls. Why? Because it works. People report unmistakable signs, dreams of deceased loved ones thanking them, sudden peace about someone who died, strong urges to pray for specific people, and always, always, when they follow through, when they have the masses said, when they offer the suffering, when they do the penance, things change, burdens lift, peace comes. And somehow, in ways we can't fully explain but can't deny, souls are freed. So what does this mean for you, right now, today, this very moment? Because Padre Pio's story isn't just history, it's instruction, it's a blueprint, it's a roadmap for how you can participate in one of the most powerful works in the universe, rescuing souls from purification, shortening their suffering, bringing them to the face of God. And here's what you need to understand. They're depending on you, not on God. God's already done his part. He died, he paid the price, he opened heaven, but he won't force purification to end early. He waits for us, waits for our prayers, our masses, our sacrifices. He waits because he wants us involved, wants us to be co-redeemers with Christ, wants our love to matter eternally. So here's what I'm challenging you to do. 3 things, based on the 3 secrets Padre Pio learned from the suffering souls themselves. First, today, not next week. Today, have a mass said for someone who's died. If you don't have a specific person in mind, have it said for the holy souls in general, for whoever needs it most. Go online if you have to. There are websites where you can request masses, send the stipend, give the name, and if possible, attend that mass. Be there. Pray like you've never prayed before, because you might be the only person standing between that soul and decades more suffering. You might be the rope, the lifeline, the answer to their desperate prayer. Second, starting right now, every time you experience any suffering, any pain, physical, emotional, spiritual, don't waste it. Say the prayer, Jesus, I offer this suffering to you, united with your sacrifice, for the souls in purgatory. Use it to free someone today. Make it a habit. Train yourself. Every headache, every frustration, every moment of difficulty, offer it. You'll be shocked how this transforms your relationship with suffering. It stops being pointless, starts being purposeful. You start to see pain as currency, as spiritual wealth you can spend on behalf of people who can't help themselves. Third, and this is the hard one, choose one sacrifice, one voluntary penance, and commit to it for a specific period of time. Maybe it's fasting, skip 1 meal a week, offer it for the souls. Maybe it's sleep. Set your alarm 30 minutes earlier. Use that time to pray for the deceased. Maybe it's comfort. Take a cold shower and offer the discomfort. Maybe it's entertainment. Give up one show, one social media app, one habit that eats your time. And every time you feel the pull to go back to it, offer that desire, that little death of self for a soul who's dying to reach God. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. This sounds medieval. This sounds extreme. We're not called to that anymore. God wants us happy, not suffering. But here's my question. Does God want you happy, or does God want you holy? Does God want you comfortable, or does God want you conformed to the image of his Son, who died, who suffered, who said, if anyone wants to follow me, let him take up his cross? Not maybe, not if it's convenient. Take it up, carry it. Follow me through suffering into glory. Padre Pio didn't invent this theology. He just lived it, proved it, showed the world that it works, that suffering offered transforms souls, yours and others. And if you reject this, if you say, no, that's too hard, I just want to live comfortably and hope for the best, that's your choice. Free will. God won't force you, but imagine something. Imagine you die, you go through your judgment, and God shows you a soul, someone you knew, someone you loved, and he says they spent 40 years in purgatory, 40 years of fire, purifying, burning, aching, because no one prayed, no one offered mass, no one sacrificed anything for them. And you were one of the people who could have helped, but you were too busy, too distracted, too focused on your own comfort to remember them. How would you feel? What would you say? Would you try to explain that you didn't know it was that important, that you thought someone else would handle it, that you were too busy with work and life and Netflix? Or would you just weep, knowing you had the power, the ability, the opportunity, and you did nothing? Here's the other scenario. Imagine you die, and before you even reach judgment, souls appear. People you knew, people you prayed for, people you didn't know but prayed for anyway. And they're radiant, glowing, overwhelmed with gratitude, and they say thank you. That mass you had said, that suffering you offered, that fast you chose, it freed me. It shortened my time. It brought me here. I'm home now because of you, because you remembered, because you loved me even after I died. Which future do you want? Which story do you want to be yours? Now here's what you need to understand about timing. The souls in purgatory can't sin anymore. They're saved. Their salvation is certain, but they're not in heaven yet. They're in between, being purified, having every attachment, every stain, every residue of sin burned away, and they experience time differently than we do. Some theologians say time in purgatory is psychological, that a soul in purgatory experiences their entire purification in what feels like an eternity, but might be an instant in earthly time. Others say it's linear like ours. We don't know for certain. But here's what we do know. When we pray for them, when we offer masses and sacrifices, their experience of time and suffering changes, is shortened, is relieved. Padre Pio saw this. The souls told him, showed him. One prayer doesn't just make them feel better emotionally, it actually alters the duration and intensity of their purification. Think of it like this. Imagine you're carrying a massive weight, so heavy you can barely stand, and someone comes and takes half of it. You're still carrying weight, but now it's bearable. The journey is shorter. That's what your prayers do, your masses, your sacrifices. You don't necessarily get them out instantly, though sometimes you do, but you always lighten their burden, always shorten their journey, and they know. They see, they're aware when someone on earth remembers them, prays for them, loves them enough to sacrifice for them. One more thing, and this is crucial. You might be thinking, okay, I'll pray for my deceased relatives, the people I knew. But what about the millions of souls who have no one, who died forgotten, abandoned, unloved, who have been in purgatory for centuries because no one remembers their name? Padre Pio had a special devotion to these souls. He called them the forgotten ones, the abandoned souls. And he said, they were often the most desperate, most in need, most grateful when anyone prayed for them. So here's what I want you to do. In addition to praying for people you knew, pray for the forgotten ones. Say, Jesus, I offer this Mass, this rosary, this suffering for the holy soul in purgatory who is most forgotten, who has no one to pray for them. Bring them home, because when you do that, when you reach out to a soul who has no one else, you become their only hope, their only advocate, their only chance at relief. And saints who've experienced this say those souls, once freed, become your most powerful intercessors in heaven, because they never forget. They never stop being grateful. They never stop interceding for the person who pulled them out of the fire. Let me share one final testimony about Padre Pio that brings all of this together. It was reported by multiple witnesses in the 1950s. A woman came to Padre Pio, frantic. Her husband had died suddenly. No time for last rites. He hadn't been to confession in years, hadn't practiced his faith. She was terrified he was in hell. She begged Padre Pio to pray for him, to tell her if there was any hope. Padre Pio looked at her with those eyes that could see straight into souls. And he said something she never forgot. Your husband is not in hell. He's suffering, purifying, but he will be saved. Because 30 years ago, you prayed a rosary for your future husband. Before you even met him, you asked God to save him. And God heard that prayer, and in the moment of your husband's death, he was given one more chance, one more moment of clarity, and he said yes to God, barely, weakly, but yes. And now he's paying the price for his sins through purification, but he will reach heaven because you prayed. 30 years before it mattered, you prayed. The woman collapsed weeping, because it was true, she'd forgotten. But as a young woman, years before she married, she'd prayed that rosary for whoever God would bring into her life, prayed for his salvation, and 3 decades later, that prayer saved him. That's the power of prayer across time, across space, across even death itself. Your prayers today might save someone 10 years from now, someone you haven't met yet, someone who will desperately need that grace in their final moment. And God will reach into His infinite treasury and pull out your prayer, your mass, your sacrifice, and apply it exactly when it's needed. So tell me, are you starting to see how serious this is? How powerful you are? How much responsibility you carry? Every day you go without praying for the dead is a day souls might be suffering needlessly. Every mass you don't have said is a missed opportunity to rescue someone. Every pain you experience and don't offer is spiritual currency wasted, thrown away, like burning money when someone next to you is starving. And here's the thing that should motivate you more than anything else. One day you're going to die. That's not morbid, that's just reality. And unless you're one of the rare souls who dies in perfect charity with zero attachments, you're going to purgatory too. We almost all do. The question is, how long? How intense? How much suffering before you reach the face of God? And when you're there, when you're in that fire of purification, aching, longing, unable to help yourself, you're going to be completely dependent on the people you left behind, on whether they remember you, whether they pray, whether they offer Mass, whether they sacrifice anything for you. And if you didn't teach them to do that, if you didn't model that, if you lived your entire life never praying for the dead, never helping the souls, never participating in this incredible work, why would they do it for you? Why would your kids, your friends, your relatives suddenly develop a devotion to the holy souls when you die if you never taught them it mattered? You reap what you sow, even after death, especially after death. But here's the beautiful flip side. If you start now, if you build this practice into your life, if you make praying for the dead a habit, a discipline, a daily act of love, you're not just helping them, you're training the people around you. Your family sees you doing it. Your friends notice, and when you die, they'll remember. They'll have masses said. They'll offer prayers. They'll sacrifice for you because you showed them how. You built that culture, that tradition, that expression of love that continues beyond the grave. Before we finish, let me give you something practical, something you can start today that takes 5 minutes. Here's a simple prayer routine that incorporates all 3 secrets Padre Pio learned every morning. Every single morning without exception. Do this. First, offer your day. Jesus, I offer you every pain, every frustration, every difficulty I experience today. I unite it to your suffering on the cross. Use it to free the souls in purgatory, especially those who have no one to pray for them. That's secret number 2. Offered suffering built into your morning before anything goes wrong. Second, pray 1 Our Father, 1 Hail Mary, 1 Glory be for the holy souls, specifically for whoever needs it most right now. 30 seconds, that's it, but do it every day. Make it automatic as brushing your teeth. Third, once a month, have a Mass said for the holy souls. Put it in your calendar, set a reminder, budget for it, and attend that Mass if you can. If you can't attend, unite yourself spiritually. Offer that Mass intention from wherever you are. That's it. 5 minutes in the morning, 1 Mass a month, and you've just become one of the most powerful advocates the suffering souls have. You've just positioned yourself to potentially free thousands of souls over the course of your lifetime. Thousands, and every one of them, once they reach heaven, becomes your personal intercessor, your advocate before the throne of God, praying for you, thanking you, interceding for your needs, your family, your salvation. It's the best investment you could possibly make. Eternal dividends, interest that never stops compounding. Now here's your final challenge. Before you close this video, before you move on to the next thing, do something, not later, now. Pull out your phone, go to a website like the National Shrine or Catholic Mass Association, request a Mass, type in a name, someone who's died, or just put holy souls in. Purgatory, Pay the stipend. It takes 3 minutes, or open your calendar. Schedule time this week to go to your parish office and request a mass in person, or right now this second pray. Say out loud, Jesus, I offer every pain I experience today for the souls in purgatory. Use my suffering to free someone, especially the forgotten ones. Do something, because knowing this information and doing nothing with it is worse than never knowing. Knowledge increases responsibility, and you know now. You can't unknow it. I want to know in the comments. Who are you going to pray for today? Give me a name. Or tell me you're committing to the forgotten souls. Make it public. Make it real. Hold yourself accountable. Because when you write it down, when you declare it, it becomes more than an intention. It becomes a commitment. And I'm reading every comment. I want to see your names, your commitments, your stories. Tell me if you've ever experienced anything that made you believe in the reality of purgatory, any dreams, any signs, any unmistakable moments where you knew a deceased loved one was reaching out. Share it, because your testimony might be exactly what someone else needs to hear today. One last thing. If this video impacted you, if it changed how you think about death and prayer and sacrifice, share it. Not for me, not for the algorithm. Share it because someone in your life needs to hear this. Someone who's lost a loved one recently. Someone who's drowning in grief and doesn't know how to help. Someone who's spiritually asleep and needs to wake up. Be the instrument, be the messenger. Share this, tag someone, send it directly, because you might be the only person who brings this message into their life. And if that message leads to them having one mass said, offering one prayer, making one sacrifice that frees a soul, you participated in that. You helped save someone forever. That's not hyperbole. That's not exaggeration. That's the actual spiritual reality of what happens when you share truth that leads to action. Padre Pio bled for 50 years, suffered constantly, gave up comfort, sleep, food, peace. Why? So souls could be freed, so the message could spread, so people like you could learn these secrets. Don't let his suffering be wasted. Don't let the testimony of thousands of freed souls fall on deaf ears. Act today, now, this moment. Have the Mass said, pray the prayer, make the sacrifice, and trust that on the other side of eternity, souls you'll never meet in this life will be waiting to thank you, to embrace you, to show you exactly how your prayers changed their destiny. That's the communion of saints. That's the body of Christ functioning the way it was designed. The living helping the dead interceding for the living, all of us together, moving toward the same goal, the face of God, forever. God bless you. Until next time, and remember, your suffering is never wasted, not if you offer it, not if you love through it, not if you remember the souls who are depending on you. Pray for them. They're praying for you.